Hi and welcome to Old Time Knowledge. Well, in this video I'm going to be making classic no-boil lasagna. This is a very old recipe from Mueller's pasta, from Mueller's Lasagna. Even though I'm not going to be using those noodles today, I'm going to be using Barilla, which is a different brand. But this recipe is the go-to recipe that I've used for so many years, and I just wanted to show you how to do it. I've got a pound of ground beef, which I've taken out of the freezer and thawed, and I'm going to be browning this to make the sauce, and then we will move along and I'll tell you what's in it. But the best part of this is you don't actually have to boil the lasagna noodles before you put them in. You just assemble everything and then you bake it at 350 degrees for about 50 minutes, and then you put more mozzarella cheese on top and bake it for a few more minutes until that cheese gets melty and delicious, and then you let it set for about 15 minutes and then it's ready to serve. So I'm just going to speed things up and take you through all the steps. So as you can see, first I'm just browning this ground beef. I'm going to break it up as best as I can, because obviously you're going to want this mixed in with the sauce that you're going to put in the lasagna. You're gonna just, you don't want to have big huge clumps of ground beef in there. Well, maybe you do, but I don't. I want it to be kind of all mixed up and blended in with the pasta sauce. If you want, you can also add some sausage in here, but I do like to use about a pound of meat, whether it's all ground beef or if you wanted to use a mixture of ground beef and sausage. I've just brought out the other ingredients because once this sauce is ready, it's just going to be time to assemble everything else and get things ready. It goes pretty fast. The longest part is just the baking. So here I've got 2 eggs and I'm just beating those lightly. This is where I'm going to be making the filling mixture. So I'm going to use 15 ounces of ricotta cheese. I have one of those large containers, which is about 32 ounces, about a quart, I think. So basically I'm putting in half of that container because that would be roughly 15 ounces of ricotta cheese. So then I'm also going to be adding in mozzarella cheese. The recipe calls for 2 cups divided, but I might use more. But anyway, I'm definitely going to be adding in at least a cup here in the bowl with this mixture, and then I'll be also you'll be adding more mozzarella on top. So I've just got to finish browning this ground beef, which, as you can see, I'm speeding up. Once all the ground beef is totally browned, I'm going to drain all the fat out, and then I'm going to add 2 jars of pasta sauce. It calls for 52 ounces. This is not quite 52 ounces, but I think once I add a little bit of water to the bottom of each jar to get the last bit out, that ends up being 52 ounces. You need that much just because that liquid is what ends up cooking the noodles in the lasagna when you're baking it. So I'm going to quickly switch over back to finishing off making the filling. So I've got to add half a cup of Parmesan cheese, and I'm also going to add some parsley to this just for color. They actually say you can sprinkle parsley on top, but I don't know. I like to put it in the filling, and I don't really measure it. I just put it in there and sprinkle it around and mix it all in. I'm going to be putting the exact recipe in the description below, so don't worry about the fact that I'm doing my own thing a little bit in this. You can follow the actual recipe. So here is where I'm going to actually start assembling the lasagna. You're going to put about a cup of the sauce in the bottom of a Pyrex dish, just like your typical casserole size. You're going to put some of the lasagna noodles across the pasta. You don't have to get the noodles that are called oven ready. That's just a gimmick. It's not necessary. You can use the regular noodles for this. In fact, you probably should use the regular ones for this because the other one might have a little bit of a different recipe as far as how you mix everything to get it to be basically a no-boil lasagna. I might have said no-bake earlier. I meant no-boil lasagna. So then you're just going to come back over it with more of the sauce. You're going to want to put about another cup of the sauce on top of everything, and spread that out. Put more noodles, and then we're going to do more of the cheese mixture, and we're just going to keep layering this until everything is all assembled. And once everything's all assembled, we're going to be putting aluminum foil on top and baking it in the oven for the specified amount of time. So one thing I'll mention is when I do this, and I don't know how other people do lasagna, but I end up having to break one piece to put at the end of the casserole dish so that it'll fill the whole casserole dish, and I alternate so that the broken piece goes at the end of one layer on one end, and then the next layer it goes to the other end, and that's just how I do it. And so there's another broken little narrow piece to go in on the side because I just want it all covered with the pasta. And so this is just the last little bit of cheese mixture. I'm going to do my best to spread this around. I did forget to mention when you're doing the sauce and the ground beef, definitely add salt to the flavor that you like the sauce. You want to make sure it's salty enough, because if not, your lasagna is not going to have very much of a salty flavor. I mean, yes, Parmesan does have some salt, and yes, the sauce will have some salt, but we like it a little saltier, so definitely you want to add some more salt. And so now that I have all the sauce on here, and you want to make sure you get all the sauce, you're just going to sort of spread it out to the edges, and then this is where you're going to cover it and put it in the oven to bake. You're just going to cover it with some aluminum foil. You're going to bake it for 55 minutes in a 350 degree oven. And then you'll take it out and you'll add the mozzarella cheese on top and leave the aluminum foil off, and then let it bake some more till the cheese gets nice and bubbly. Okay, so here it's been 55 minutes, and I'm going to take the lasagna out and get the foil off, and then we'll go ahead and get the mozzarella on top. And this is where the box recipe says you can sprinkle parsley on top of the cheese, but like I say, I include it in the filling. I don't sprinkle it on top. It might look nicer if I did, but this is just how I've done it. I use all the rest of my mozzarella. It's supposed to just be a cup on top, but I don't know. I just have a feeling it's probably more on top. I just like it to be really pulled on top. I like it to be a lot of cheese. So now I'm going to pop this back in the oven for, probably about 8 or 9 minutes until it gets nice and bubbly. And then I'll take it out and show you how it looks, and I'll serve some up. All right, so the lasagna is ready. I need to let it sit for just 15 minutes before I cut into it and serve it, so that's what I'm going to do. All right, it's been 15 minutes, so now I'm going to cut and serve this lasagna for my son and I. And it's ooey gooey, y'all. I like it this way, and you can tell because of the fact that it just comes out so easy that the noodles are cooked all the way through. There's no problem whatsoever. I'm just going to go ahead and cut another piece. And the thing is, it is, I think it's almost better the next day. It's delicious when you first serve it, but it's also good the next day once all those flavors have had a chance to sort of meld together in the refrigerator. This is such a delicious lasagna. I'm not going to have much now, just because, like I say, I'm getting ready to serve it to us for supper. But I hope you try this, and I hope you let me know what you think. You can stick with the recipe exactly. That's probably what I would recommend. It's just that, over the years, I've just kind of gotten to make it in a certain way for us. But the original recipe is perfect just like it is. So I hope you like this, and let me know what you think in the comments below. All right, I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.